before I even started applying to schools outside the country, this is the first thing that I did. And honestly speaking, it changed everything. So if you want to study outside the country and you don't know where to start from, then this video is for you. You are definitely at the right place. In this video, I'm going to talk about the first thing that you're supposed to do when applying to schools outside the country. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I did was to have a research interest. I mentioned this in my previous video. If you want to apply for a program, which is a master's degree program or a PhD, then research is something that you can't escape, because you will definitely be doing research when you get here. So that is one thing that you have to keep in mind. So if you're here and you want to pursue your master's degree or your PhD or your postdoctorate, then this video is for you. The first thing that you're supposed to do is to know your research interest. You need to know your research interest in order to get professors that you want to work with. Okay, because all the professors here work on different things. They have different research interests. So if you don't know your research interest, you wouldn't know which professor to work with. So that is the first thing that you're supposed to consider when you're applying to schools outside the country. What exactly is research interest? Well, research interest is something that you're interested in researching on. Okay, it can be a specific topic or area within your field that you are curious about or you're interested in. So let's say when you were doing your bachelor's degree, you had a final year research that you did. It may be that that is something that you're interested in. Let's say you researched on birds, and that is something that you were interested in, or something that intrigued you, or something that you want to do for the rest of your life, or even for a particular period. That can be your research interest at the moment. Okay, so that is something that you want to do more research on, something that you're curious about. You're curious about how birds mate or whatever they do. Let's say you're interested in that particular area. That becomes your research interest. So now you know your research interest, you know what you want to work with, you know who you want to work with, because you want to work with professors who also have that similar interest, okay, who also work on birds and research on how birds get made and all those things. Okay, so that is research interest. That is just an example of a research interest. Okay, so that is what you have to identify before you even think of applying to schools outside the country. Now, the next thing that you're also supposed to do is to research universities. Some of these universities may not be offering the program that you want to pursue, and some of them too may have requirements that you may not be able to fulfill. So you have to research universities and know all these things. You research universities and know their requirements. Now, if you are researching universities, these are some of the things that you have to look out for: the application fees, the tuition, the application requirements, the funding, and then the research areas. These are 5 most important things that you have to look out for when you are researching universities. So the first one is application fees. Some of these schools have very high application fees, and most of them might waive it for you. Some of them too might not waive it for you. You have to know the universities that are willing to waive the application fee for you and the ones that are not going to waive the application fee for you, so that you know what to do. Okay, because the application fees are very expensive in some of the schools. In most of the schools, the application fees are very expensive, especially if you convert it to your home currency. So you have to make sure that you know the schools that you're applying to, and you know the application fees that you have to pay in order to prepare for them. Now, the second thing that you're also supposed to look for is the application requirements. This is very important because most of the schools have different requirements. Most of these schools require statements of purpose, letters of recommendation, and a whole lot of things. Okay, so you have to know the requirements of the school. Some of these schools do have program requirements. Okay, so for the program that you're applying to, they have some requirements that you have to fulfill. So you have to know all these things in order to know if you're eligible to apply for that program, or you're even eligible to apply to that school. So knowing the school's requirement is very important. Knowing the school or the application requirement is very important. And that is one thing that you have to take note of when you're applying to schools outside the country. Still on the application requirements, sometimes most of these schools will require you to write SAT, TOEFL, or any other standardized test. And maybe you may not have the money, or you may not have the mental capacity to study, or you may not even have the time to study and go and write those exams. So you look for schools that do not require these standardized tests. Okay, there are many schools that do not require you to write SAT or TOEFL or GRE or any other standardized test. There are schools like that. So you look for these schools and look at their requirements. Maybe instead of you writing TOEFL, they might just want you to show an English proficiency letter to just show that you are capable of speaking English or you are fluent in speaking English. So just know the school's requirements so that you know where to start from or where to go from there. Some of these schools too will require you to submit 2 letters of recommendation or even 3 letters of recommendation. And if you don't know the school's requirements, you may not be able to prepare for it, because these letters of recommendations are supposed to come from your professors or the people that you've worked with. So you have to know in order to plan ahead. Now, the third thing that you're also supposed to consider when researching university is the tuition. Okay, The tuition is also very important. If you are an international student, you will mostly be paying out of state tuition because you are an international student, and out of state tuition is very expensive. So you want to know what your options are. Like, you want to know how much it's going to cost for you to even study outside the country. Just in case you don't get a scholarship, you know what you're going in for. You know what you're planning for. Okay, you know what you're going in for. So you plan ahead. So you have to also check the tuition of the school. And if you're okay with it, and you will also be able to fulfill all the requirements of the school, and you also have the application fees, or you have the money for the application fees, or the school is going to waive the application fee for you, then you are good to go. Okay, you just have to know your research interest and then start writing cold emails to professors, which I'm also going to talk about in my next video. So this is the first thing, or these are some of the things that you have to first think about before you even try and apply to schools outside the country. All these things can be found on the school's website. Okay, if you go to the school's website, you're going to get all these information there. You're going to see the tuition, you're going to see the application requirements, you're going to see the application fees, you're going to see all this information on the school's website. So let the school's website be your go-to place in terms of any information that you want. That is where you're supposed to go to. They put every information on the school's website. Each and every school has a school website, and they put all their information there. If you're looking for information and you can't find it on the school's website, they have the school's email there. You can email the school, you can email your programs coordinator, you can email a whole lot of people. There are a whole lot of emails there. You can email any of them and then ask them for clarification on whatever question that you have, or ask them for answers on whatever question that you have. Make sure you make use of the school's website, because that is where all the information is. And make sure you know your research interest, because that is what you need to get a professor, or to be able to secure a professor who will sponsor your education when you come here. If you like this video and you want to know more, kindly subscribe to this channel, like, and also leave an amazing comment. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about the next thing that you're supposed to do after knowing your research interest and also getting schools that you want to apply to. So make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and follow me for more updates. Thank you for watching.